What's in your data?
Brought to you by Melissa. Hi, Lee Daniel is my name, and I'm the regular data chief at Melissa. That was a cold. That was a cold open.
No, that was like you were having a semi-stroke.
No, that was smooth.
No.
You had the stroke.
No,
Oh
I was
my God.
normal. You were saying something gibberish.
Okay, fine.
Welcome to What's in Your Data.
Brought to you by Melissa. Howdy. Regular data chief is my game, and Lee Daniel is my name.
My name is Anna Chong, and I'm a software engineer team lead here at Melissa.
Okay, so that was English, just in a different order. It's English, but in a different order, right?
Okay, yes.
So-
It took me off guard a bit.
You know what else can take you off guard? Global addresses.
Yes. Yes, it can.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
if you think about it, it uses words, there's numbers, there's letters, but it might be in a different order.
Right.
Okay, that's why. I mean, usually I'd say, hi, I'm Daniel Lee, but this time it was Lee Daniel because it's just a different order, different way to do things.
Yeah.
Right? It's
That's
legitimate somewhere.
Not here, though.
In my head, it was legitimate.
Somewhere it is. Okay. Well, I guess that's our topic for today.
Yeah.
Global addresses.
Global addresses and its challenges.
Lots of challenges
Yes.
associated with it. Yeah.
So, I mean, we're all familiar with a US-based address, right? So our address here is 22382 Avenida Impresa, Rancho Santa Margarita, California, 92688. And you can break that down. You got your house number, 22382. You got our street name,
Yep.
Avenida Impresa, and our very long city name, Rancho Santa Margarita,
Yep.
or RSM for short. State is California, and the zip code
Yep.
is 92688.
Yeah.
We all know that.
Yep.
And we all know that the standard address in the US follows that format.
Right.
Plus or minus a few lanes, streets, avenues, and like
Suites.
north, south, east, west, and suites. Yeah, right. But that's US.
Yeah. We're fortunate, I think, that we have a very clear standard because I think once you start branching out into global addresses, most countries are, pretty reliable also, but, once we get into like some of the more obscure ones, then, we see addresses that kind of lose their standards and their formatting. So it can get tough.
And even if the country has a standard, it could just be, it looks different.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So we don't have to look far. We have a neighbor to our north, Canada. And they have a pretty good postal system, but they do things a little bit differently. And
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about?
The switching of the premise numbers and suite numbers.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So here it's like 100 Main Street, Suite A. But in Canada, it would look like
Suite A-100 Main Street.
A-100. So they put the suite first. All the pieces are still there, just in a different order.
Yep.
And if you didn't know how to deal with it, you'd be addressing it incorrectly in Canada. And your package might get lost, your mail not delivered,
Yeah.
or you don't know how to read it.
Yeah. Thus the challenges, right? So, I think we should talk about some common challenges that we see day to day here. And, maybe this applies to, consumers, worldwide, especially if they're having to deal with addresses that are not their own.
And we're not talking about just developers,
Right.
just the common man,
Yep.
a woman, just people needing to send a package to an international
Yeah.
recipient.
Yep.
Do you know how? Are you doing it correctly? Do you know their standards?
Yeah. Yeah.
So challenges. So like what?
Well, right off the bat, I guess this is more specific to the data side. Is you are gonna you have to source the data somewhere, right? So you're getting addresses from vendors from different sources, and they might not be the most. There might not be the most standards. What am I trying to say? The data that we get might not be the most comprehensive. It might be incomplete, inconsistent. So we're already starting off, with global address challenges with a challenging data set.
The quality of the data.
Quality of the data, right? So we here at least deal with a lot of vendors and a lot of different sources of data, and not everything is created equal. And so we have great vendors that supply great addresses and great consistent data, right? But there's also vendors that are more open source, so it's kind of less reliable in that way. So you're dealing with records that come in with different accents, even though it's the same word, right? Capitalizations. So some might come in all caps, some might come in all lower caps. We're seeing a lot of variations.
Do accents matter?
Accents do matter. I think, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure there are some countries where, an accent could change the meaning of certain things. So like if you mean to send it here with an accent, it might, if you don't include it, that might be an issue. So that's some countries not require, but they prefer certain parts of their address to be all in caps, right? So if you lowercase those, like, I don't know, what does that do? Just some of the most common things that we see on ingestion. Another thing that's kind of common is some countries don't have a standard or verifiable system. So we can't be like, hey, is this like a good address? Is this a valid address? Can we confirm that? A lot of countries, we can do that, right? With United States, I believe we have the ability to check via USPS to validate an address too.
And verify.
Or address sources, right? Address providers and things like that. But not every country has that. So there's a challenge of trying to say, well, is this the right way? If we are trying to create this data set for this country, is this the right way? It might be harder to get that information right off the bat. So there's a lot more research that need to happen.
So Anna just brought up something that let's remind our listeners about validation versus verification. Yeah. So I think we spoke about this in a previous episode.
Yes.
But validation is, something looks valid. The address can look valid, but verification is the next step up. Is the address deliverable? So just because you have a valid looking address doesn't mean it's a verified address.
Right. Going back to the Canadian example, right? You could write 1-A Main Street, or you can write A-1 Main Street. They both look right, but only one of them might be deliverable.
Right. So definitely a difference between validation and verification, and all countries have different levels of that.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And some you can only just validate addresses, but you can't fully verify it.
Correct. Yeah. That might look right. I mean, it looks right, but we can't validate that for sure.
And you can't verify. And just sometimes because those countries don't even have a verification system.
Of their own, right.
Of their own. Yeah. Okay. Well, what other challenges can happen in global addresses?
So there are several countries that we've seen where they've gone through some restructuring of their addresses. We're talking revamping postal codes. Could you imagine?
Postal codes, right? Because we call them zip codes in the United States.
Yeah.
Other places call them postal
codes. Yeah. So revamping of postal codes, revamping of the entire address system, going from like a lot-based to a street-based. We see a lot of countries, not a lot, but we see countries that go through these types of processes, to make their addressing better and, more efficient. So we're not faulting them for that, but, we do have to keep that in mind that there is those changes. So those are my list of some common challenges that we've seen working with global addresses.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can't talk about global addresses without talking about global languages.
Yep.
And there are a lot of languages in the world. And just because something sounds familiar or correct in English, that does not mean it translates the right way in another language. So we're so familiar with saying Daniel Lee and Anna Chung. But the moment I said Lee Daniel, alarm bell, that sounds weird.
It does sound weird. It does sound weird. Yeah.
But other languages, they read from right to left.
Yeah, that's true.
Like Arabic languages. Did you guys know that there's a special character to indicate that what follows is going to be a right to left language? How do you do that, right? Like when you're typing on a keyboard and you want to start typing in Arabic, there's a special code to put in so that word processors and typists can know, what's following is going to be right to left format. And then end that and go back to left to right.
Yeah.
So, you can type number 100, that's usually read left to right. But if you put in a street in Arabic, it's going to be read from right to left.
Switches, yeah.
It switches in line, right? So you're talking about right to left to right, and if you don't know how to deal with that in your computer system, in your database, it's going to cause you headaches. And then if you're trying to write it out to deliver, it could cause headaches.
Sure. Yeah.
And since we're talking about global languages, there's other, they call them the CJK languages. Have you heard about that?
I have not.
What do you think CJK stands for?
Sounds like a restaurant.
No, I think you're about CPK.
Oh, yes. That's right.
Are you hungry?
I'm always hungry.
Always hungry. Pizza right now. No, not CPK. CJK. So China, Japan, Korea.
Okay.
They use characters.
Yeah.
And so there's something called half-width and full-width characters.
Okay.
So I believe, especially in Japanese and Chinese, I guess Korean too, their characters, they draw them in squares, like little square boxes.
Okay, sure.
But that's what's called a full-width character, right? Full-width. So the character is drawn in the whole square.
Like it takes up the whole space.
Takes up the whole space.
Okay.
But to have that much space, it takes up 2 bytes.
Okay.
Of storage. And the Unicode point for it is a full width. It takes up like literally 2 spaces. So if you start mixing like letters A, B, C, the ASCII set, those are called half-width characters. And if you start mixing them, you're gonna have like big boxes and little letters and big boxes and little letters. So they have full-width versions, equivalents of the ABCs of the ASCII.
So it stays kind of consistent. Okay.
Yeah. So, but then in your data, are you storing it fully full width or partial, hybrid, full and half? Do you know how to deal with it? So that's why there's systems out there that can handle these different characters, especially when you're mixing ASCII with characters from other languages, especially the CJK languages. Yeah, Chinese, Japanese, and Korean. And since we're talking about that, there's non-Latin characters too, Cyrillic.
Oh yeah.
Cyrillic, or even just accents.
Yeah.
Vietnamese has accents on it. How do you deal with that? If you strip away all the accents, like you said, some countries it might mean a different word, different street.
Yeah.
So don't lose that data. You have to encode it properly, and then store it properly, retrieve it properly, and then write it properly.
Yeah.
Left to right, right to left, up, down, down, up. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, actually, that's kind of a good segue because there's a country out there that has more than one official language in their country.
Officially?
Officially. It's official. We're talking about Switzerland.
Okay.
So it's known that they have multiple languages. I think they have like four official languages. But so addresses there can be a little bit tricky too. Depending on a specific area, I think there's an area, I'm going to let you know right now, it's called Biel/Bienne.
Those are 2 different languages right there.
Those are 2 different languages. I think they actually literally write it out, Biel. I'm so sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right. Biel/Bienne.
And what's the first language?
German.
And the second?
French.
Oh.
Yeah. So it is an area that have both German and French as official languages. And depending on your language, the street name changes.
And the city name.
And the city name, so they actually keep it as both. So they have the German/French version of it. But I assume you can mix and match. We see it as both. But we're looking at, so if it's like a German one, right? An example would be Bahnhofstrasse. That was pretty good, I thought.
That sounds German.
That sounds German. That would be like the German form of that street. But if we're
with the same premise number.
Same premise number, same postal code, and the same locality. But if you are like a German-speaking person or a German
French.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you're French, yeah, that we already talked about German. If you're a French speaker, then you might call that street Rue de la Gare. Gare.
Gare.
And it would be essentially talking about the same street, just in different languages.
Wow.
Yeah. So
in the same city.
In the same city, in the same country.
Mm-hmm. And they're both valid, legal, official.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, that's a interesting way, right? interesting way of having addresses. If you thought one address was hard to know.
Oh, man. Curious if there's a third or a fourth. You said there's 4 languages, so I'm curious if there's even more.
There might be. I just know that this one is like a good example. But
Of
yeah.
at least 2. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. Well, I mean, like, so what's one supposed to do with all these crazy rules and everything out there? What can someone do? A developer or even just a regular Joe Schmo just wants to, send a package.
Well, I think you can. You're gonna have to find some sort of a source or a provider who can help you be able to identify addresses correctly. Not identify, but be able to
Deal with these challenges.
right, validate them and verify them, so that whatever you're doing with those addresses, your mail, parcels, or whatever can get delivered to the intended address, whether it's German or French.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something to think about, huh? How to find a global address provider.
Yeah, I think that's a whole nother topic.
Okay.
I think that's a whole other topic that we should cover another episode.
So are we good for this one?
I think so. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of challenges out there. I'm sure everyone has different experience with global addresses. So, you're not alone out there. It is a universal challenge that I think everyone can partake together in. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining today. If you like this kind of content, please make sure you subscribe and like below so that you can be notified when we release new videos and so that we can reach viewers like you.
We'd love to hear from you. So email us at podcast@melissa.com or leave comments and we'll try to cover anything you want us to cover.
We'll talk about global address challenges. Until next time.
Stay data curious.